monster truck, Traxxas E-Revo, or truggy HPI D8T that is converted to brushless system, and my Vorza, which is a 1/8 scale buggy. So people have been asking me about the big differences between the E-Revo and the truggy, and as you can see, they're pretty much the same size, with the D8T having a longer wheelbase, but it also has a little narrower track. I am running a 1/2 inch, I believe, or maybe it's an inch offset wheel, so if you're running the stock E-Revo wheels, it would probably have the same width as the truggy. Now, big differences is, of course, the suspension setup, which is lying down on the E-Revo, and the more conventional style, which you got on the D8T. And the Revo, I know you can lower it, and I've driven it lowered, but the big difference here is the Revo, even though the battery sits real low on the chassis, you still got the massive and the motor and the gearbox sitting on top, along with the ESC. So no matter what you do, you're always gonna have a higher center of gravity on the E-Revo compared to a truggy. At least this one. Performance-wise, acceleration, speed, etc. is up to you. I mean, it depends on what motor and ESC and batteries you're gonna run in it. But when it comes to handling, the truggy is far better. It simply tracks better, it responds better. Everything I can think of in the handling department is better on the truggy. The only thing the Revo, in my opinion, would do better is jumping it, and that is solely to the reason here. You can see there's quite a lot of space, ground clearance on the car, whereas here you're down to something like 3 fingers, and if you look at the buggy, you're down to 2 fingers worth. So we can take a look from above again. Another question I get asked is, what's the difference between a truggy and a buggy? And these two are both HPI vehicles. Well, one is labeled hot bodies, but it's HPI, all of it. And as you can see, the truggy is running bigger wheels. It's running longer arms, both in front and in the rear. So the truggy has a wider stance than the buggy. It's taller than the buggy. It's longer than the truggy. But otherwise, it does share a lot of components, like the diff housings and the diffs inside of them. They are the same. One thing that the D8T has an advantage is the shock towers has been lightened. You can see the chassis plate has been lightened, and again the same goes for the rear shock towers. They're all lightened. So the truck is actually not that much heavier than the buggy. Handling wise, I would say the buggy has the advantage. It's smaller, it's more nimble, it's sitting lower to the ground, so you can take turns, etc. faster. And it's running pretty much the same power plant that the truggy is running. They're both running a 2200 kV motor. The Vorza is running a Mapper Monster ESC, and this one is running a Hobby King 150 amp ESC. So they're pretty close, The truggy does weigh a bit more, but it's not much. And if you're wondering, with all this stuff here is, I do run it night times when the kids have gone to bed. So it's dark out, and having some lights on it, not enough to illuminate the road, but just enough to see where the car is and which way it's headed, is a huge help, even though we do have street lights. Any recommendation if you were to consider these two, the E-Revo versus a D8T, even the converted one? The D8T will come out cheaper once you've built and gotten all the different components. It's gonna handle better. They're equally fast. If you're gonna jump a lot, go with the Revo, simply because you can adjust the suspension on it, and you can raise and lower it by moving the shock. I don't know what you would call that, but this shock thing that connects up to this doohickey, and you can move that back and forth, and you can lower it, and you can actually get it to sit quite low and lower the center of gravity, so you can take the corners faster. I think that's it. Just trying to show you the size once more. And as you can see, the buggy is clearly the smaller of the two. I put some tires on that would be close to what the truggy is running, because normally I'm running the 3.8 trenchers, which are, well, quite huge. But I'm no longer running this as a truggy anymore. I'm running it as a monster truck, so the big wheels fits better for the look of the whole thing.